Hello and welcome to another Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. My camera is very ceiling heavy. Let's do this. Okay, there we go. Hello, how are you? Good, I hope. So today's episode is special in the fact that I am doing a walkthrough on a book that I didn't help with the design work on because I hired it into the company when it was well underway. But I did give a hand with like proofing and I was involved with kind of the post-production side of things. But I do want to go ahead and walk through it and talk about it and explain why it's cool. So we'll get to that in a minute. Oh, geez, hiccups. In a minute, because more hiccups. Let's hope those go away before the video continues. The week in Bryan. So it's been a weird week. It's been a weird week. Let's go ahead and start with gaming. Just really kind of playing some video games. Played some old school board games with a couple of friends. I did get a copy for Christmas. I got a copy of the Dungeons and Dragons Trivial Pursuit. We have not had a chance to actually play it yet. Although several people online have said that it's really hard, even for professional nerds. So I am interested in seeing how frustrating it will be to play when we get around to it. I will say this, just for general purposes, and this is not even just a for this game. We've done this for Trivial Pursuits. Our house has a house rule for Trivial Pursuits that if you luck out, so let's say you everybody knows the style of the game. Every card's got six categories on it, 6 different questions, and on the back of the card it's got the 6 different answers. Well, we've played for a long time that obviously if you get the answer right, you get the question right. But if your answer just happens to be one of the other, even if you get a wrong answer, and your answer happens to be one of the other answers to the other 5 questions, that you still get the question right. And I think it is of all of the times that we've played it, of all of the times that we've used that house rule, I think it has maybe actually hit gold, like maybe once, twice on the outside. But I can remember once specifically where someone threw out a joke answer because they didn't know the real answer to the question and actually mashed up with one of the other questions, and we were like, "Oh my god, you get the question right." But so I look forward to seeing how that comes together. That's really it. I haven't done a lot of gaming lately, just because things have been ramping up. Personal life, Connor is now done and past the whole COVID thing. He's doing great. Everything's wonderful. Everybody else in both of the houses that he lives at avoided catching the funk. So that's a good thing. Still doing the gym, personal life has been just kind of normal. We fixed the landing to my stairs. One of the stairs was collapsing, so we hired a guy to come out and take care of that. He did that. That was awesome. Everything's great. Painting, I finished up all of my models for Winter Fantasy, so they're all done. And then I actually took a quick commission from Connor's mom. My son's mother, my ex-wife that lives across town, she had some very, very cool collectible Fallout, not figurines, but they should sit on a shelf and look cool. That apparently when they moved houses a few years back or whatnot, or when they were moving stuff around, somehow a couple of them got broken. and one of them is resin and the other one is ceramic. And she asked me if she could hire me to fix these things, because I've got my whole sculpting and fabrication workshop and painting and all that stuff, knowing that it's going to need some touch up and whatnot. So I did that earlier this week, got those fixed. That made me it's nice to, it's always nice to make money or whatever, but it was also nice to get to work in a different medium for a little bit, instead of just always models or things like that. So it stretches the old skill set. Yes, that's really all the painting I've done. Although I did sign a new commission to do a bunch of Kingdom Death models for a friend of mine, and I've painted a bunch of stuff of his before. It's been a while, but apparently he just got like a pile of stuff from some Kickstarter or something that he's like, "Can you do a couple of commissions for me?" So I'm gonna get to do those here pretty soon. I don't have the models yet, so I don't know exactly what I'm painting, but I think 6 or 7 Kingdom Death characters, I believe. Yeah, that's really all my painting. Gaming, painting, personal, work stuff. All right, so work stuff has been a thing, in a good way. I mean, like, it's been a lot. I am still slinging words for the Shadowrun novel. It is going a little slower than I anticipated. I was really, really hoping to be done by now. But it's looking like it's gonna stretch a little bit. Instead of being probably the beginning of February, I'm probably gonna have to get to the end of February, which makes me it makes me unhappy that I didn't get it done as quick as I thought I would. But life is what life is, and the ability to focus on doing novel writing has been patchy, we'll say. Real life gets in the way. We'll leave it at that. Warzone's been doing great. Got a couple of playtest games in. We've done some tweaks to some of the Wave 2 stuff. Wave 2 stuff has gone, or is soon to be going out to playtesters. Made a few tweaks to a few of the things in the Kickstarter wave, and have started recombobulating rather than discombobulating, readjusting the Graviton Protocol scenarios so they fit the new rule set and the new scenario stylings. So that's going to be fun. We announced yesterday that the Netflix lawsuit is settled. We settled amicably. Any information on that, you would need to go to info at evilgeniusgaming.com if you want any further questions. Effectively, we put out the statement yesterday, or I guess at this point a couple of days ago, or could be weeks or months from now, depending on when you watch this video. We put out the statement that basically explains everything, so you should go to our news blog and see that if you would like. The other big thing that dropped for Evil Genius is our organized play, the Evil Genius organized play system, the Ego system, has gone into effect. It is out in the world. The app is live. You can get the adventures and the pre-generated characters and everything from our website. You can sign up for the program itself. Definitely want to go check that out. I will put the address, the link to specifically the Ego landing page. I will put that in the description of the video. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Not just because I wrote some of it, obviously, I am biased, but I think the guy in charge of our ego program, Michael Bramnick, first off, great guy. Secondly, he has been playing in organized play stuff for many years. He's participated in helping with the backgrounds of the with the people that run those things for years. He really knows his stuff, and he's at the forefront of this project, and has done a fantastic job of making it come together. And I really look forward to seeing the fruits of his labors. I like being on the creative side of things, helping to come up with the narrative and helping to come up with the adventures and things. But the fact that he has got such an unbelievable grasp on how this is going to work and how it's going to function is it's really awe-inspiring. I'm very proud of him. He's done a really good job. So if you are at all interested in playing Everyday Heroes as an organized play, sort of, characters that grow over time, that kind of thing in an official capacity, especially knowing that there may be cool special things down the road that's ego specific, you should totally click on the link, even if you just get signed up to see what people are doing and be ready for when convention season comes around and stuff, because obviously we're going to run a bunch of ego events and things. So please check it out. We really want this to be super successful, and reasons. There's other cool reasons as well. So yeah, I think that's really it for the other thing that I've been pushing a lot on my social media right now, and I saw that Ed was pushing it pretty bad. Ed Greenwood was pushing it pretty hard too. Is we're in the final weeks of getting ramped up to do the launch the Surviving Strange Hollow, the art of Emily Hare in role-playing game form. And in celebration of that, there's a whole bunch of press that's going out. There's this really cool website that you can become a Strange Hollow VIP. I think it costs $1 to become a VIP, and you get art prints and stuff that's special. I will put that link in the description as well. And extra cool and special, as a side note, next week, I can announce this now unless something goes bad. Next week I will have excuse me, I will actually have a video interview with Emily Hare talking about Strange Hollow, talking about how she came up with it and all this kind of stuff. It's just gonna be a quick conversation with the artist herself. So I absolutely, if you're remotely interested in cool, creepy, kind of Dark Crystal, Ghost in the Darkness style fantasy, you're going to want to check it out. And hell, if you're a D&D 5e player and you want some cool new creatures and concepts and classes and feats and all that stuff, check that out too. But either way, next week we're going to get to talk to Emily about her world, her vision, and kind of how she got into this whole thing in the first place. So make sure you check that out. Speaking of checking things out, so when this goes live on January 20, like my map or my calendar, January 26th. So my videos drop during the day. Tonight, you are going to get to see me role play a very cool system created by one of the designers, Bug, over at Ninth Level Games. They are putting out a Kickstarter. I think it goes live next week, for their Sentai and I was trying to remember what it was called. Sentai and Sensibility. It is a very, very fun, silly, like collective concept, but it's really, really cool. And I had a chance to play it on Sarah's table over at Gen Con TV, and that video goes live tonight. So you should make sure that you check out over at Gen Con TV's Twitch /Sarah's table tonight at I think it's 8 o'clock my time, so 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. And then obviously we'll be able to catch it video on demand. But if you want to check out a fun game about effectively Power Rangers in polite society, it was a lot of fun. And I think that Ninth Level Games the creators of Cobalt Ate My Baby, they are great people. I love them to death, and I wish them all the success in this endeavor. So I hope that you at least take the time to check it out. And if you don't check it out as the video, here in a couple of weeks or whatever, when the Kickstarter launches, that you'll go check out Sentai and Sensibilities. All right. So let's get into this. I wanted to show you the Vault Rules Compendium Volume 1. So the Vault for Everyday Heroes, it is a collection. Well, you know what? I'll read the back to you, and then I'll explain it further. Get ready to shift your Everyday Heroes game into overdrive. Evil Genius Games has collected a year's worth of incredible new rules for Everyday Heroes into one amazing compilation. Whether you want to battle gigantic monsters with awesome mechs, live forever as an immortal warrior, tap into the power of ritual magic, play a mutant warrior, mod yourself with cyberware, become a billionaire, or just shoot an incredible array of new weapons, this book is for you. And all this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are more than 25 new hero classes within, along with dozens of new backgrounds and professions, the new origin mechanic, and feats galore. GMs have lots of new tools to keep players on their toes, including more than 100 new NPCs that cover everything from 300-foot-tall living nightmares to an angry homeowner with a shotgun. This is your ultimate rules toolbox for building nearly any modern world of adventure that you can imagine. All right, so this is basically I don't want to say setting agnostic. It's an Everyday Heroes core version, a cleaned up or tweaked or altered or whatever version of a lot of the rules that we put out in setting specific licenses during the Cinematic Adventure Season 1. So all of things like Highlander and The Crow and Universal Soldier, a lot of those rules that were baked into, that came out of those settings that we turned into stuff for Everyday Heroes, a lot of that stuff, people were they were pointing out to us. They're like, man, this could be used in a regular Everyday Heroes game. This could be used in my homebrew. This could be, and so it was kind of a no-brainer for us to take those rules and make them a little more accessible for players who maybe, player that goes, I love the concept of having like a cool immortal character, but I just really don't want to, I really don't care about the Highlander, license. I don't care about that setting. So they don't want to spend the money on the Highlander book because it's going to have so much stuff in it that has to do with Highlander, but they do want the rules. So at some point along the lines, Dave and Sig figured out that the rules themselves might be also very cool to turn into, non-setting specific versions of those rules. So that way for posterity, they're going to be part of Everyday Heroes, not part of a setting that plays with Everyday Heroes as well. So this book is a collection of that with some tweaks and changes and, a cleanup factor on things that may have been mistakes. But this is one of those kinds of, products, is that this is I would call this a core source book rather than a core rule book, because you don't need all of the stuff in this. But if you're trying to run an Everyday Heroes game, or you're trying to create an Everyday Heroes campaign of your own, or maybe create your own world setting, this stuff, the stuff in here is going to be very, very useful. And so what I wanted to do is, now that the physical copies of the stores, the physical copy of the books are starting to go out to customers and starting to show up in stores. The PDF is obviously already on our website, but now that it's starting to show up, I wanted to go ahead and do a quick page through just to show you some of the cool stuff that's in this. So if you are an Everyday Heroes fan, that you know what you should be getting into, when you get a hold of this book. All right, first off, cool cover. We got Scary Mutant, Survivor Person, and what looks like a brutal warrior type person, but we'll see inside that there's more. And then there's like a crazy giant, like, fire skeleton demon monster fighting a robot in the background. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. First things first, this is a 352-page book, and that includes legal and not table of contents, index. It includes all of that. So if I take that part out, it is 340 pages of game. All right. So back to the beginning. All right. So we got our table of contents. I'm not gonna go through everything, because obviously I would like you guys to buy this book and find it yourself. There's a cool foreword from our lead designer, Siegfried Trent. Sig was one of the original creators of the Everyday Heroes system. And he remains Evil Genius's lead designer. Everything that I design and develop for them, we pop it over to Sig and let Sig take a look at it, just to make sure that everything matches up. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a solid guy. He's a pleasure to work with, and I enjoy the freedom that he gives me to do my own designs and things. But I like having that safety net there of someone who knows this system so well that if I come up with something crazy, if I come up with, we'll say, a series of PDFs that has to do with, government agencies fighting aliens. If I come up with a bunch of stuff, and if something's not quite right, or if maybe it doesn't quite cooperate with an obscure rule reference or something like that, Sig's real good at catching them. He is also very, very good at explaining that stuff to others. There are a lot of times where editors or devs or anything will take a look at something, and the way that they deliver the information of this is incorrect or this needs changing comes off as very adversarial, very, well, this is wrong. And Sig doesn't really come off that way. He comes off very factual. His developmental processes is, he does come off very factual. He lets you know, hey, this is why I make this suggestion. And most of the time, unless it's a straight up like, no, this just doesn't work, he offers suggestions. I think this is a good idea. Maybe we should do it this way. So I want to take my hat off to him. I won't, because my hair's a mess. But I want to take my hat off to him, that he does really, really good work. And in my 20 years in this industry, I would put him in the probably top 5 just like straight rules designers that I know. So there's that. Obviously I'm at the top. No, I'm sorry, I had to throw it in there because I was getting too serious. All right, so there's a cool introduction, and then we get into part 1, hero options. So first things first, we talk about Origin. Origin is a new thing for Everyday Heroes. It originally showed up in Total Recall and Universal Soldier. the cinematic adventures. It also shows up in one of my agency files, and will show up in future books as well, future products as well. It is another layer of creating a character. So an Everyday Heroes character is always a background and a profession and an archetype, like strong hero, agile hero, and then under that archetype they pick a class. Well, Origin is an extra layer that happens at the very beginning that basically is if background is where you came from and profession is what you've done, Origin is literally how you became what you are. Most characters in Everyday Heroes, I would say 99% of the characters in Everyday Heroes are going to be human. And human gives you your starting array of stats, how many points you have to do a point by. It's the normal. That's the run of the mill average person is a human in Everyday Heroes. This book introduces Cyborg as an extraordinary origin. So in the case of a cyborg, you get a few fewer points and a slightly different stat array. But now you have the ability to take enhancing cyberware. So that's a thing. We have the new Immortal. So obviously that comes from the Highlander cinematic adventure, like that concept of a person that's just ridiculously hard to kill for whatever reason. And their ability scores tend to be much lower for the point buy system. You get fewer points to play with than a regular human, but you get all these cool, well, I can't die type special abilities. You get all kinds of new talents and things. We then have Mutant, which is as it says on the tin, it's you having a character that has physical and mental and potentially even like telepathic mutations that give your character different powers at the expense. Normally, they almost always have a risk and reward sort of situation. And then we have Synthetic. So Synthetic is more or less like if you wanted to play a actual like full robot, or if you wanted to play a kind of vat-grown, not quite human, humanoid sort of thing. That's the rules for synthetics. Then we get into backgrounds, and I'm not going to explain them all, just because there's too much in this video. It would be a million things if I go through every single page. But I am going to just give you the lowdown on what you see in the backgrounds. We get abused, born in the slum, convict, corporate legacy, counterculture, cult escapee, disaster survivor, lawless home, legend, islander, near-death experience, refugee, remote village, small town, street rat, suicide survivor, tunnel rat, traumatic, veteran, violent past, war orphan. So there's a ton of new regular everyday backgrounds. Then we get into historical backgrounds. So this is a way to, it's very, I want to say it leans very heavily towards like immortal characters or characters from another time period, but you could definitely do like someone who fell through time, or maybe some kind of magic portal, or like if you just wanted to make a character from that time frame, here you go. We have Aztec warrior, caravan trader, Carthaginian mercenary, Egyptian charioteer, European knight, feudal peasant, Highlands clansman, Japanese samurai, Kurgan warrior, Lakota warrior, Mali archer, Mauryan soldier, monastic, Mongolian cavalry, Persian immortal, Roman legionary, and Zhao soldier. And then we have even extraordinary backgrounds. We have divine intervention, early cybernetic, ex-monster worshipper, lost in time, memory altered, mutant legacy, occult family, raised by beasts, soulless and spaceborne, So a lot of new backgrounds for you to sink your teeth into. Professions. New professions. We have aid worker, antiquarian, arms dealer, bartender, bomb maker, charity worker, charm, chop shop jockey. I almost thought that said chip shop jockey, and I was like, guy who makes fish and chips all the time? Crime lord, cult leader, diplomat, drug cook, fixer, flight attendant, forager, fortune teller, gang leader, gang soldier, indentured fighter, itinerant, magician, mercenary soldier. Now, mind you, magician is like street magic, close-up magic, David Copperfield type stuff, not magician like I bend reality. That's saved for Everyday Arcana. Military plot? No, that doesn't say plot. Military pilot. Trying to go too quick. Pawn shop owner, occultist, off the grid, outdoor guide, prison gladiator, rat catcher, revolutionary leader, revolutionary soldier, salesperson, salvager, scavenger, senior advisor, sheriff, snitch, special forces operative, starving artist, travel agent, and war photographer. And now the extraordinary professions. Alien researcher, cybernetics engineer, cybernetics surgeon, did I miss a page? No. Irradiated laborer, mech technician, spacer. Career paths. Okay, so this is something that it was I believe we introduced those first in Rambo, I think, or we were going to. I'm not 100% sure if they showed up in Rambo yet or not. I didn't take a look at that book. But we have, basically, it is, they're an alternative way to do a standard. Instead of doing the standard professions out of the book the way they're listed, you do, effectively, like, I'm going to be very specific in how I do this. So you've got your, in this case, a criminal career path. You, instead of just saying I'm a criminal and you take that profession, you say I am. You walk through the different what part of that career path is. So in this case, step 1: how did you get started in crime? And then there's options here: burglary, extortion, finance, fraud, hacking, muscle, robbery, and smuggling. And then you go, okay, now that I've done that, step 2. Choose how much hustle you put into your criminality. So it's almost like a choose your own adventure style of way of creating the profession that your character has been in, and it walks you through. And at the end of this career path, you've basically got a new profession. Instead of the kind of ready-made one from the original rulebook, you've made one that's a little more tailored for you. So in that case, we've got the criminal career path, the office worker career path, the special forces career path, the sorry, special forces one is the big one. And oh no, that's the last one. Is those are the 3 career paths that we put into this book. Obviously, there will be more career paths down the road. To help create more detailed professions for your characters. Then we get into classes. So we have the billionaire, a smart hero that uses a lot of money to get. You are literally playing someone so rich that money is not money is almost more of a tool than a resource. Excuse me. I need to take a sip of my gas station coffee. Ooh, that's great. The brutal warrior, a strong hero, who is kind of a it's a strong hero that just the more damage they take, the more they hit back. We have the combat engineer, another smart hero. They're almost like a demolitionist, if you think about it. We have the combat medic. Name does what it says on the tin. We have the combat scout, which is a almost rangery kind of character. We have the Commander, a battlefield lead from the front kind of character. We have the Field Researcher, which is going to be like your taking pictures, researching monsters and critters and locations, archaeologist. I could see one of the field researchers could be like a Tomb Raider style character, maybe Indiana Jones-ish. We have the Graceful Warrior, which is I could see like a dexterous knife fighter. It's an agile hero. They are very good at almost like not quite like the duelist, but they are excellent at the turning one particular fighting style or one weapon into like their dance partner. We have the Gutter Rat, which is your street punk street survivor. Motorhead, not the band, although great band. It is this is your engine jockey, your Fast and the Furious character that lives under the hood. Networker, which is everybody knows that one of these. It's for Shadowrun, it'd be your Mr. Johnson. It's the guy who knows everybody. Is always smiling. Oh, I've got a guy for that. The Spy, which is a charming hero. It's the James Bond, the part of James Bond that is, well, yes, Miss Moneypenny. It's the very very charismatic. Yes, I've got a gun, and yes, I can win a fist fight and all these things, but I'm going to look good doing it. And very style as much as substance. We have the Street Warrior, kind of an everyday hero's version of a Street Sam, honestly. The Strategist, which is a battlefield smart hero, the moving pieces around on the chessboard. The Survivalist, you're living out in the woods, your militia, your doomsday prepper. That's your Survivalist. And then we have a couple of extraordinary classes. We have the Alien Gadgeteer. Basically someone who is using technology that they shouldn't have or understand to make cool things. We have the Bonded Twins. So this is one that it obviously comes out of the Pacific Rim cinematic adventure, because the idea of bonded twins in a drift is so is such a huge thing in that setting. When I heard that SIG was putting the bonded twins as a class in here, my initial thought was, oh God, that's just not going to fit. How are you going to do that? How are you going to make this something that everybody can use without having, Jaegers and kaiju and all that kind of stuff? And one of my cohorts actually just said 2 words to me. Well, I guess 3 words. And I went, okay, never mind. He just looks at me and goes, Tomax and Zaymot. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm sold. So this is a cool character class that is, you are playing 2 people as one character effectively, and you have all kinds of cool connections to each other. And while in Pac Rim it's really good for the drift, it's big on that. There are definitely cool things to do. There's a guy on our Discord that says using the bonded twins or a variation of the bonded twins to do almost kind of like a Sense8 from Netflix, multiple minds that kind of share each other all at the same time. It's cool. I stand utterly corrected. There is definitely ways to make bonded twins work in an Everyday Heroes campaign that isn't Pacific Rim. The Chosen, not the one from Smosh. But it is obviously a warrior charged with a holy purpose or a righteous purpose or some kind of supernatural purpose. The cyber modder, basically a person who's put their body through a bunch of cybernetic stuff. The mind doctor, effectively a super science mind wipe or brainwashing specialist. The monster hunter, does what it says on the tin. Mutant giant, I love this art for the mutant giant. Is if just a massive mutant, super, almost misshapenly huge. Mutant psychic. Mutant shifter, so it's someone who their mutation allows them to change their body. The soothsayer, which is a ritual, like fortune, like an actual mystic fortune teller. All right, and then we have some bonus content for other classes. So we add some extra stuff. This class that's in here that I'm about ready to talk about is, I think it was included, honestly, because Sig likes to show kind of he likes to show how the sausage is made. And this is a class called the Everyday Hero. And it is, you can choose to be any kind of hero. It fits into any archetype. So tough hero, smart hero, doesn't matter. It fits into any of them. It's a universal class because it is almost just designed specifically for you to take feats and things and stuff that you want to build as you go. Rather than fitting into some kind of cardboard box, it is undefined, or it is defined by its inability to be defined. So it's effectively a kind of like those career paths that let you choose all the things you want to do as you go. The Everyday Hero class is a bonus, is an optional class if you think about it, that allows someone, maybe they don't know what they want to be, or they don't know if they want to be an icon, or they want to be a monster slayer or anything like that. They know that they want to play this game, and they want to have their character be involved in these missions. The Everyday Hero class is build this character from the very beginning, you're proficient, your background or whatever, and then now we just see where it takes us, and you progress as you go. Definitely, I think it is the definition of flexible, but it doesn't necessarily do any particular thing ultra well unless you choose to focus that direction. And a lot of people have been saying that if you choose to do something that well with the Everyday Hero as a class, then why aren't you just that class? If you know you're going to do all fighting, all strength-based stuff, then go be a brawler. We have a bunch of new feats. I just looked at the clock, and we're barely, not even we're a third of the way through this. So I'm not really gonna blast through everything, but I will say that so we've got some new feats like Bloodletter, where to make them hurt. Distracting Flourish, you basically use sleight of hand in your combat. Extreme Environment Training, you want to be one of those paratrooper fire jumpers. Extreme Environment Training. We have weapon expertise. You get to choose a particular weapon to be super good at. Some extraordinary advanced feats. We've got Cybernetic Tolerance, Executioner. You are especially talented at executing finishing moves to end an enemy's life. Major Mutations, Ritual Lore, Immortal Historian. That's cool. So a lot of the special ones require you to have a particular origin. So some of these you need to have an immortal origin in order to have, we'll say, a previous life. So that's cool. It's just extra stuff. New multi-class feats for obvious reasons because there's all the new classes. We have more multi-class feats. We have a whole section on mutations, a whole chunk of stuff that talks about, there's roles for doing random mutations. There's here's a creepy hand that's got extra fingers and claws. From minor beneficial mutations like chameleon skin, giving you advantage on dex stealth, to long arms. Your arms with melee weapons reach 5 feet longer. We have radiation resistance, telepathic speech, rubber bones. So there's just all kinds of cool stuff that you can get for your character. If you're playing a mutant, or if you get the feat that if your game allows you to be mutated. 4 arms, hypnotizing eyes, multispectral vision, so you can do have predator vision. Regenerative tissue, twin minds, and then one of the things that we've had here is also detrimental mutations. So a lot of times, you might have long arms, but you might also be weird. They might be weirdly rigid, like they're very jerky to move or whatever. It is ways for you to kind of pay for some of your mutations instead of just being like, oh, hey, here's cool powers trademark. Now we get into equipment. Tons of equipment here. So they're broken up by different era. We've got new rules for ammunition. We've got crewed vehicles. Bunch of new equipment packs. Like the Mystic Pack and the Explorer Pack, Punk Pack. We've got some extraordinary packs like the Space Marines Pack, the Cybersmith Pack, and then you actually get some gear kits from specific eras in time. A bunch of advanced. So we got a Browning high power, a Browning high power. We have the Heckler and Koch HK93A2. So there's, rather than in the original book, in the original Everyday Heroes, there was a lot of hunting rifle. Now we're going to get into, here's a few more things that are a little bit different, a little special, a little closer to specifically what we were, or what could possibly be setting specific. You can, get an idea of, oh, okay, this is a little bit different. We have a whole bunch of new melee weapons because of including a lot of the options from Highlander. Historical ranged weapons, including muzzle loaders. We've got some historical armor that includes the I'm going to butcher that word. The panoply. I don't know. A new trait. We've got a bunch of new improvised equipment. Some new explosives. Extraordinary equipment like more high tech weird stuff. Including, I love this piece of art, the nano katana. So it's a nano machine sharpened. I love that weapon. It's so cool looking. All right, we have armored spacesuits, and then we have a whole section on cybernetics. Similar to mutations, it is stuff that adds to your character and does things, but you can only have so much mental strain, bodily strain built into your character. There's feats and things that allow you that strain to be increased, but basically there's only so much mod work your body can withstand before your brain goes nope. So we've got internal enhancements, leg and feet, mental enhancements, sensory, nanites, all the things that you think you should be able to do with your character. Cybernetically, you have options to do so. This is another cool picture. This is the cyber skin. showing like armored plated scales on your skin. It's very cool. Surgery, the actual surgery it takes, like, so let's say mid game, you start a game off as an Everyday Heroes game, regular everyday thing, and then like you decide to introduce something kind of off the wall or raise the sci-fi stakes, and you introduce them to a cyberdoc, and the cyberdoc goes, well, I can augment you, but it's going to be a process, and there are rules and timing and the checks and things for you to have cybernetics attached to you. Then we get some regular gear, holographic projectors, new grenades. These are all things that you expect. Some new vehicles, including a tank. I guess technically 2 tanks. A whole pile of new weapons for vehicles, and then probably one of my favorite tables ever is the improvised vehicle modification table. So it is a whole table of things you can add to your vehicle to almost Mad Max it out if you want. We have some extraordinary vehicles, including a cool spaceship, or a shuttle, I should say. And then we get into some rules. So the rules additions, these are things that we felt Everyday Heroes, if you wanted to, you could use as like an optional set. Don't, obviously a character, if you're playing in one of the ego games, and maybe your character's just I'm a chef that used to be a Navy SEAL that looks a lot like Steven Seagal, old Steven Seagal, not current Steven Seagal. You could basically come to the table, and you're not going to be like, oh, and by the way, I also have night vision. I've got mutant eyeballs. A lot of this stuff is with GM permission, with your setting, your homebrew, whatever, and so some of this stuff is there as well. We've got rules on determining how good of a success your skill check is. Rather than just a pass-fail, you can have, maybe you did really good, maybe you did only okay, maybe you only barely failed, maybe you utterly failed. We've got how to new certifications on how to carry some restricted equipment in places. We've got historical skill proficiencies. We've got so this section I am torn on. I think it's a cool addition to the game. It comes with the caveat. Here's your warning, folks. There will be people out here that abuse this set of rules, that use this chapter in ways that might upset others. But I think that there could be some very, very cool stuff that comes out of this, and that is an entire chapter dedicated to play children. Now, it basically means you could run an entire game that is a game of imagination on the playground, or you could have you could create your homebrew of Spy Kids. That's what this chapter is about. So I think it's very cool. I just really want everyone to be aware that, make sure if you're playing with the everyday Heroes kids rules, that everybody at your table is okay with it, that everybody at your table understands that these rules were written not to have the Hunger Games, but to have fun, imagination, kid-based, characters. We have some new combat rules. So like things that can cinematic stuff that can happen in an event in an environment. We got new conditions like bleeding. We've got the dueling mechanic from Highlander, a way for you to have one-on-one fights that aren't just I swing, you swing, I swing, you swing. Rules for human shields or not so human shields. You gotta have like mutants and stuff too. Morale, new rules for environments, excuse me, like low oxygen, gravity, that kind of stuff. We have demolition of buildings, different kinds of buildings, nuclear explosions, traps, and then we get into a section that was obviously, this is we wanted to be able to create a setup where you could run around in giant monsters, or run around in giant robots fighting monsters and stuff. But for obvious reason, Pacific Rim is very specific in how they do things because it's part of their the canon. It's part of their license and their awesomeness and their story and their narrative is that whole drifting mechanic. So this is a way for you to drive around in mechs, to be a mech pilot, in different ways than having to deal with the drift, because obviously there's no drift in this case. But it has some cool stuff. I love that picture. That was a great, mech. But it has different, all the different cool stats and things and drones and things that you can do to fight robot on robot, Titan scale stuff. It's just really cool stuff. We have ritual magic, which goes much further. We have all the rules for different scale, the Titan scale, the giant scale, the diminutive scale, the normal scale, and the minuscule scale. I really wanted them to call it the miniscale, but they didn't. Allowing you to play Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. If you were thinking I think that'd be a great thing to do. We have all kinds of like marvels, and the marvels as in like these are above and beyond what regular science and engineering can create. And then we have this whole section. All of that, this is all opponents and allies. This is all NPCs and threats and monsters and rules to create them. And so there is a ton of everyday NPCs in here. And I'm telling you now that between this and the ones that are in between the NPCs in here, the ones that are in the core book, the ones that appear in our online products, the ones that will be appearing in future online products, if you are remotely uninspired to create, like you're like, ugh, I just don't know what my guys can fight tonight, or I don't, I'm putting together this adventure for my people at the store, but I don't know who they can go up against. You have so many options now of different NPCs and stuff and threats and things to go up against everyday heroes characters in their games. You have lots. You have lots and lots and lots and lots, including in this. I'm going to show you. It's one of my favorite little bits of art that made me go hee hee hee. Is where are you? Punk Rock Medusa. I love it. So I know it was kind of a fast and loose. We paid a little more attention to the beginning part than we did a lot of the rules and stuff, because I don't want to go through all of the nuts and bolts. I want you to pick this book up and go through the nuts and bolts yourself, and decide what is cool and what isn't for your games or for the characters that you're going to build for Ego and all of that. So it is. It's a great book. The Vault Rules Compendium Volume 1 is a great product if you're an Everyday Heroes fan, or if you're thinking about trying to maybe cook up your own Everyday Heroes game. of some kind, or maybe even put together like a module or something of your own. I can't suggest enough that this book is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic, and should definitely be on every Everyday Heroes Game Master and Player's shelf. There you go. There's my review. And yes, I know I'm a little biased because I'm part of the company, but I will say this openly, that even if I was not part of the company, even if I wasn't related to Evil Genius in some capacity, this is a really good idea. It was a good call. It was a smart concept, and the final product really did come together. So I hope you'll get a chance to check it out. But until then, just be safe. Wash your hands. Get your shots. Wear a mask if you have to. Be warm. Warm if you're in one of the cold places. Dry if you're in one of the places that's flooding. Just try and really, really be safe. Leave every room that you've ever been in a little happier than when you got there. And I think things will all work out. But until next week, where we talk to Emily Hare about her universe, her strange hollow universe that she has created through her amazing art. Please, please, please be safe. Play some games. We'll see you next week.